Today, the ceremony we are participating in is to honor our veterans. We just want them to know how much we appreciate them, and hopefully they'll take something away from it and realize that we are there for them. I would like to thank everyone who has came out today. It's a pleasure to see each and every one of you. To see that this many people is taking time to come out and honor the people who've put on the uniform and served. And there's a lot of you in the crowd that we see and know. And I want to thank you for your service at this time and let you know how much we appreciate you and honor you. You can't hear me? Now? All right. Can you give me up a little bit? At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Brent Gozo to come up here to make our opening remarks and welcome. Mr. Brent?
Good morning. Today we gather to honor those who have dedicated themselves to our wonderful country in defense of the preservation of our freedoms and the privileges that we have as Americans cherish. This is the day we get to celebrate the men and women who have worn and still wear the uniform of the U.S. military, just how we appreciate their sacrifice to protect our great nation. It is rewarding to acknowledge and thank a person in uniform wherever we see them. So today, as we gather here on the hallowed grounds, we honor those who have served who have served before and those who still serve in uniform. Now we'd like if everybody would stand. We'll have the presentation of colors by the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office Honor Guard.
If you'll remain standing, we will have an invocation by Pastor Mark Sturmer from the Church International. Thank you.
I want to say happy Veterans Day to all of you. And the color green was selected for this Veterans Day, and it represents honor. It represents renewal, and it represents well-being. So, Father, we just come to you now, Lord, and first of all, Lord, I honor all who have served our country, and they have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice so that we can have freedom, freedom to live, freedom to pursue, and freedom to worship you. Lord, I pray, my God, for, Lord, renewal, for those that have come back from wars, and wars have stolen their innocence, and there's a struggle that takes place in their life because of it. I pray, my God, that you would reach out and you would just touch them, my God, and you would bring healing to them and truly renew them, Lord. And I also pray for the well-being, my Father, the well-being that can only come from you. So I ask your blessing upon this time. Bless us and keep us, Lord. May your face shine upon us and be gracious to us. Father, lift up your countenance upon us and give us peace. For I invoke your name, the name of Yahweh, in the name of Yeshua, who is Jesus Christ, the great Messiah. Amen and amen.
Now, if you'll join me, Ms. Tanya Whitney will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
This time, we would like to thank and recognize the Ascension Sheriff's Office on the guard for the presentation and posting of the colors, the East Ascension High School Choir under the direction of Aaron Perdue for leading us in singing the national anthem, Pastor Mark Sturmer, Ms. Tanya Whitney, and the Park Foundation people who help us provide and put this program together. This year marks the 240th birthday of the Purple Heart. And at this time, I would like to do a tribute to the Purple Heart with so many people in our midst and throughout this country and world who have been bestowed that honor with sacrifices from themselves. The Purple Heart is a United States military decoration awarded in the name of the President to those wounded or killed while serving on or after the 5th of April 1917 with the U.S. military. With its forerunner, the Badge of Military Merit, which took the form of a heart made of purple cloth. The heart is the oldest military award still given to U.S. military members. The National Purple Heart of Honor is located in the Windsor, New York. The original Purple Heart, designated as the Badge of Military Merit, was established by General George Washington, then the commander of the Continental Army, by order of the Newburgh, New York headquarters on 7 August 1782. The Badge of Military Merit was awarded to 3 Revolutionary soldiers by Washington himself. Washington authorized his subordinate officers to issue badges of merit as appropriate. Although never abolished, the award of the badge was not proposed again officially until the end of World War I. During World War II, 1,506,000 Purple Hearts were manufactured, many in anticipation of established casualties resulting from the planned invasion of Japan. By the end of the war, even accounting for medals that were lost, stolen, or wasted, nearly 500,000 remained. To the present date, the total combined American military casualties of the 70 years following the end of World War II, including the Korean War and the Vietnam War, we have not exceeded that number. In 2000, there were remaining 120,000 Purple Hearts. The existing surplus allowed combat units in Iraq and Afghanistan to keep Purple Hearts on hand for immediate award to soldiers wounded in the field. The history section of the November 2009 edition of the National Geographic established the number of Purple Hearts given above the estimates. The text reads, "Any tally of Purple Hearts is an estimate. Awards are often given during conflicts. Records aren't always exact." During World War I, there were 320,518 Purple Hearts issued. During World War II, there were 1,076,245. The Korean War, 118,650. The Vietnam War was 351,764. The Persian Gulf War, 607. The Afghanistan War, 12,534 as of November 2018. The Iraq War, there were 35,411 as of November the 18th, 2018. Operation Inherent Resolve, 76. The United Nations Multinational Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, 2. Each year on August the 7th, it is recognized as a Purple Heart Day. To all of those here, if you see a man with a Purple Heart, shake his hand and tell him how much you appreciate him, as well as every other veteran you see. At this time, I would ask Mr. Chad Lynch to come up and introduce our officials and our guests.
Good morning. On behalf of our chairman of the Veterans Park Committee, Mr. Shelby Ballard, who you just heard from, and the other members of the Veterans Park, we welcome you to the park and appreciate your attendance today. It's always great to see the park full of people for this event. I have the task of introducing the special guests on the stage with me, and so I'll run through them as best I can. Hopefully I won't make any mistakes, but we have right here behind me our current parish president, Clint Quintmall. We have City of Gonzales Mayor Barney Arsenault. Former Mayor, former U.S. Representative, and current City Councilman Johnny Berthelot. Former Parish President Kenny Matassa. Current City Councilman Tim Riley. Come back over here. I've got former Councilman and current Recreation Board member in the City of Gonzales, Neil Burke. Ascension Parish, our Ascension Parish Sheriff, Bobby Weber. We have with us the Regional Director for U.S. Senator John Kennedy's office and former Parish President Tommy Martinez. State Representative Tony Bacala. State Representative Kathy Edmonston. I believe I got everybody on that side. We'll come to this side. Up front, I'll give a brief introduction. There's more to follow on our guest speaker, Brigadier General Paul Tibbets, and his spouse, Angel. Thank y'all for joining us. You know Shelby Ballard, our Ascension Veterans Park Chairman. Behind him, you've heard from Pastor Mark Sturmer with the church at Samaw. And then the next fellow, affectionately known as my boss, the Ascension Parish Superintendent of Schools, Mr. David Alexander. VFW 3693, which is the local Veterans of Foreign War Post, Gonzales Memorial Post 3693, our current commander, Jared Nolan. Tanya Whitney back here is a Veterans Park committee member who's the former chairman of the park. We've always appreciated Tanya and what she does. And then last but not least, behind me, all the children you notice, students from East Ascension High. I think they're all Spartans, is that right? Yeah. And their choir director, Miss Erin Perdue. Brent Gotro's hiding off in the shadows over here. He's a Veterans Park Committee member and also former commander of the local VFW 3693. And at this time, I think I got everybody on the stage. I'm going to call on the Ascension Parish President, Clint Quintmall, for his remarks today.
Thank you, Chad. Before I start with my my speech and the words of honor, I do want to say, you know, the good Lord above has blessed us with this weather today. It is just a phenomenal day today. I know we have a little bit of weather coming in tomorrow, but we also want to extend our prayers out to the people in Florida who is getting hit with another major storm for the second time this year. We're all very familiar with what that feels like here in Louisiana, so I want to extend our prayers out to our neighbors in Florida. You know, it's an honor and a privilege to be here today. Either you have served or you have family members who have served. My late father is a veteran, as well as I have two nephews, Carlisle Quintmall, who is in the Army as a Night Stalker, as well as Caruth Quintmall, who is in the Air Force learning drone technology and becoming a drone pilot. So it is, and I'm extremely proud of those two young men. And so it is an honor and a privilege for me to be here today. So we come together to honor and recognize our service members, both past and present. Veterans are recognized as men and women who have or are serving in our American Armed Forces. Today, Veterans Day is a celebration to honor all American veterans for their patriotism, love of country, willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. It is also a day for reflection and for remembering. I'm pleased to announce that Ascension Parish government declared November 6th through the 12th as Veterans Week, and we are participating by lighting up our parish headquarters in green. So today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of our veterans for your quiet courage and service, to let you know we are grateful and acknowledge your many sacrifices and accomplishments. Veterans, you have done your duty to you and your families and our community and your fallen comrades, and to your country. You have honorably served your nation with great distinction, and we can never say it enough for your service in war and peace. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Parish President. At this time, it is my honor to introduce you to our guest speaker. Our guest speaker today is Brigadier General Paul Tibbets IV. Got his bio here for us. General Tibbets IV, United States Air Force Brigadier General, retired. He served on active duty for 29 and a half years from 1989 to 2018. Paul grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado, with a degree in engineering, psychology, human factors engineering. He is a command pilot with more than 4,000 flying hours. He's flown during 5 operation assignments, 2 in the B-1 at Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota, and Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar, and 3 in the B-2 at Whitman Air Force Base, Missouri. Paul commanded the 393rd Bomb Squadron and the 509th Bomb Wing, while assigned to Whitman Air Force Base. He flew combat missions and support operations in Southwest Asia, the Balkans, and Afghanistan during Operation Allied Force, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Iraqi Freedom, accumulating over 350 combat flying hours. Paul's staff assignments included executive officer to the commander of the 8th Air Force, chief of the nuclear and CBRN Defense Policy branch of NATO headquarters. He was the Deputy Director of Operations for Air Force Global Strike Command, Deputy Director to Nuclear Operations, U.S. Strategic Command, and a Deputy Commander of Air Force Global Strike Command. He earned a Master's of Science degree in Engineering Psychology, Human Factor Engineering from the University of Idaho, and a Master's of Art degree in National Security and Strategic Studies from the College of Naval Command and Staff. Paul attended the Executive Leadership Development Program at the Center for Creative Leadership and the U.S. Air Force Enterprise Leadership Seminar at the University of Virginia Darling School of Business. He is the recipient of the Defense Superior Service Medal with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, the Legion of Merit with 3 Oak Leaf Clusters, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Bronze Star, the Air Force Meritorious Service with 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, Air Medal with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, Air Force Commendation Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, Air Force Achievement Medal with 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, Combat Readiness Medal with 4 Oak Leaf Clusters, and Nuclear Deterrence Operations Service Medal with End Device, and 3 Oak Leaf Clusters. Paul is currently the first officer of the B777 with FedEx Express. He is married to Angel Tibbetts, formerly Guitro of Gonzales, Louisiana. And they have a daughter, Avery, and a son, Paul, 5. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Paul Tibbetts IV, General Brigadier.
I know, that was painful. Sorry about that. I'll shorten it next time. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, most importantly our veterans, good morning. It's great to be with you. Before I get started, I got to make a confession, you know, because we have the men of the women of the cloth. Some people with prayers today. They can help me out, but I got to confess. So I am from Montgomery, Alabama. Don't be a hater. But there's 3 things you need to know about that that I need to share with you today. One is I'm in Louisiana now, and I'm very grateful to be here. Number 1, because I married this lovely lady right here, Angel Tibbetts, my wife. So, yep. And she said she didn't want to sit up here. That wasn't my idea. Number 2, the food. I mean, come on. The food here is a whole lot better than the food in Montgomery, Alabama, I just got to say. I mean, yeah, it just is. And number 3, how about the game last weekend? I am a Saints fan, so I have converted. And love the Saints and love the LSU Tigers. So, yes, love the Saints and love the Tigers. The Saints were easy because we don't have a pro team in Alabama. That was easy. The Tigers took a little bit of doing. Hey, Shelby, thanks for having me here today, and it's an honor to be here. I want to do a few things with you. First and foremost, to honor, you know, our brave men and women who have served, and those who still serve today. As you know, we have thousands of men and women in harm's way today. So we never want to forget their service because they're there doing it right now, right? But of course, those that have come and gone, and all those that have sacrificed and given the ultimate sacrifice. And just to remember that, you know, what we do, those of us that serve, those men and women that serve, you know, we often talk about monuments and memorials and great things that honor the service. But in the end, it's about the people, right? It's about the people who served and sacrificed. And so I want to share a quote with you because it's one of my favorite quotes, also from one of my 2 heroes we're going to talk about today. This one's Ronald Reagan. The other one's going to be my grandfather, so we'll come to that. But here's what the late, great President Ronald Reagan said. He said, "Freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." In other words, I told a group of high school students 2 days ago, because we need them, right? It's all about each generation stepping up to serve, and everyone has, right? Every generation has stepped up to serve this great country. For the defense sector, it's interesting because people often think of us, probably most of you know, don't do this, but many do. They think of this military sector, they think about war, right? And sometimes we confuse the study of war and warfare with the militarism and military. But I have a couple things I want to share with you that I'd ask you to think about. clearly the problem of war, it's unfortunate, it's an unfortunate necessity, but it's also, by studying it and thinking about it, it's the best way to prevent it from happening. As an English theologian once said, he said, war is not the best way of settling differences, but it's the only way of preventing them from being settled for you. So think about that for a second, right? Also, George Washington, you've heard of him. He spoke to some students in August of 1797, and he said to be prepared for war is the most effectual means to promote peace. And I often talk about that when I have the pleasure of talking to folks, is that the better we are prepared to do our jobs, hopefully the more chance we don't actually have to go and fight.
Thank you, Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office Honor Guard, for posting and retiring colors. Thank you, Jambalaya Festival Association, for preparing and serving nourishment. Thank you, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 3693 and Auxiliary, Blue Star Mothers, Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 725, and American Legion Post 81 for your continued support. God bless you all for being here. God bless our veterans, and God bless America.
We come to the close of our ceremony for the day. I'd like to remind everyone that on Sunday afternoon, starting at about noon, we're going to gather up and we have a Veterans Day parade. It will start moving at 2 o'clock. This evening at 6 o'clock, there is a flag retirement ceremony put on by Post 65 over at Francois Bend. So if you'd like to participate in that, you are welcome to come and join those people over there for the retiring of the flags. At this time, I'd like to let you know that we have refreshments in the back, so please join us in there. Please stroll through the park. Take a look, read some of the history that we have here. And stop by and visit with various groups that have helped us make this day very possible. Also, ask us about applications for a brick for your veteran that we could put on the wall here and thing. God bless each and every one of you, and it is an honor to have been here today to help you celebrate and honor our veterans. God bless America.